gang, gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's the gang till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We got all the fuck in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com. Hey there, Meteorologist Tuttle with you. It's about a quarter till 10 o'clock here on a Sunday night. I hadn't spoke with you in a while. Things have been fairly quiet across Oklahoma, but we're finally starting to heat things up around our parts as we're transitioning from fall into winter, and everything's going to start to change a bit more quickly. Therefore, storm signals and whatnot will start to show up kind of sporadically on the horizon. They'll start to have some signals with them, and then we'll take a look at those a little bit more in depth. We'll kind of start to watch them, see if they turn into like full-fledged winter storms. So I've got a couple of signals we're going to look at tonight, and we'll also take a sneak peek at your Christmas Day forecast and see what else is going on. So thanks for joining me. Glad to have you here. I'm going to post the link. Many of you have signed up for this, by the way. I'm grateful for that. If you're having some trouble getting live notifications from Facebook when I do go live, it didn't happen with everybody, but some people it does. I'm going to post this little link here on your screen for your Facebook comment section right there. So you can join and opt in. Therefore, I can send you a message directly from me whenever I do go live through your Facebook Messenger. So if you're on YouTube, no worries with that. YouTube will notify you when you tap the bell. So make sure you continue to do that. And as always, glad to have you in the house. I can see you. Shannon's in there on YouTube. And of course, Jim from Mustangs checking in. Good to see you. Jordan, I see you. Yeah, so I've been, again, fairly quiet. Usually I'm a lot more active when there's weather to talk about versus not to talk about. Trust me, I got plenty of other things to do when I'm not doing this. This is not a full-time job by any means. This is mainly just volunteer for fun to help you guys out, and just because I enjoy doing it. Maybe one day it turns into a full-time deal, but that's down the line. We'll see. But for right now, we'll focus on what we've got here for this short term. So let me get to the data here. And make sure you like and share this video, by the way. Tell your friends and family about AT's weather so they can be part of the action. Okay, so what we have here is a drought that has returned to Oklahoma. So we're in the moderate drought right now. Most of the state is either in a moderate and then approaching on severe out here in the orange, and the red is extreme. But that's typical. That does happen this time of the year. So if, like today, the winds kick up and it's a little dry out there, doesn't take much to get a wildfire to develop. So just make sure you do some common sense items. You know, if you're a welder, obviously keep that stuff in the garage, not outdoors. Driving on a flat tire, the rims will spark it. Parking on dry grass with a hot muffler, etc. Of course, the old standby throwing cigs out the window. I don't know how that applies to vapes, but there you go for the old school. And then dragging chains behind a vehicle. And believe it or not, that happens. And I've seen fire trucks do that, by the way. So just pay attention to that deal there. All right, well, let's take a look at the big picture. We're going to look at the European model data here for tonight and the jet stream pattern. This is a measure of the kind of the the river of air, if you want to call it that, is what we call the jet stream. It brings a storm system and atmospheric changes. The colors indicate the stronger storm system. So right now we've got a lot of activity across Canada as they go through motion. Look at this big mess coming across the western coast. How about them apples? Now that's some good stuff there. Now this little guy right here comes into our neck of the woods. This is Colorado here on the map. It does come into the southern and central plains over the middle part of the week. This will drive in a cold front for us and a little bit of rain. Now most of the energy does go north, so it's not going to be a big rainmaker for us per se for the state. Although some folks will get some rain. I'll show you that here in a second. But it's going to bring in much cooler air, and that'll take you on into Thursday. And we have more systems showing up out there. I'm going to go to the long-range version of this, and we're going to take you into what happens, or at least potentially can happen here for the weekend. And there's of course, some discrepancy because we're looking at 6 to 8 day window, and the models will like to argue with each other over that extended period of time. But just kind of show you what's happening here as we head into, this is Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, we have an upper level low out here to our southwest, which is kicking out disturbances and energy aloft, overriding some cold air at the surface. Now what this usually means is a setup for a little bit of precipitation, and if it's cold enough, some winter precipitation. In other words, a wintry mix. Sometimes it can be some snow, it can be some ice, it can be some sleet, it can be some very cold rain. So it's usually a mixed bag. Then eventually, what happens is that low will eventually come across. So if we head on into, let's see, here's Sunday into Monday morning, it falls apart, but it does come across Texas, and there's no little system there across to our north, so kind of Oklahoma's in between. And this is just one look. The American model is way more excited about this than the European. I tend to side with the European more during the wintertime situation, so I just picked this model here for tonight. We got a long ways to go to kind of look at how things will evolve, so it's not prudent that we get into all the details at this point in time. I'll just kind of show you the big picture. So let's go on with the cold front passage, the first one. That'll be kind of changing our weather. So get ready for a little bit of a warm-up, and then we'll look at, of course, another cool down. So this will be, let me fast forward here through time until we get to Wednesday. So there's 9 o'clock in the evening. So you can see a pretty good robust line of thunderstorms developing right here. This is along a cold front boundary that'll be making its way through the state Wednesday evening into Wednesday night. And those storms will continue to eastern and southeastern Oklahoma through the early morning hours on Thursday. So that'll be the first front there. Now we will have a secondary front that'll come in after that one. And so we'll cool down again. This will become Friday. So let me jump on into Friday. So here's Friday at noon. And then here's 3 o'clock, here's 6 o'clock, and there's 9 o'clock. So Friday, some storms in southeast Oklahoma and some rain as the next kind of front moves on into central Oklahoma. Now, the question is what happens with that little energy out to the west, and if it's cold enough to get some monkey business here. If we look at the European as itself, it's very quiet. It's not very excited at all. But that's not the only model. The American really loves this look, and it'll flip-flop a little bit. So we're going to have to get some more model consistency, but I'm going to at least show you what the potential is there. So this is a look at the American model, which does have this mixture you see on the screen, which is blue for snow, purple for sleet, red for freezing rain, and green for regular rain. So it does like to produce a little bit of a wintry mix here across southern parts of the state, southwest Oklahoma on into northwestern Texas. Now, will this verify? It's too early to say. It's just right now, it's noise, it's a signal, and it's there. So from here on out, that's what we're going to be watching for to see if this continues, and then what direction does it go, in other words, on strength, etc. Now, what we will be getting is some rain out of that. So if you take a blend of all the model data itself, it's a hard line in the sand, the I-44 corridor, from the turnpike up to Tulsa, through Oklahoma City down toward Lawton. So along that boundary, about an inch of rainfall, up to maybe 2 inches in far southeastern, eastern Oklahoma, maybe parts here of North Texas. Then, of course, unfortunately, not much out of here in northwest Oklahoma. That's kind of really the only bad news I have for that. Now, the blended model approach does indicate at least some measurable snow. This is what you see in these little gray shaded areas. And why I'm showing you this, only because it's a signal, not because this is going to be the end result. Remember, snowfall maps are junk until you get about 24 to 48 hours away from an event. And even then, sometimes it's a grain of salt. And we have to take each system individually. But usually when you see snowfall maps a week out or 5 days out or 4 days out, predicting the best imaginable snowfall you could ever hope for, remember those are all Looney Tune land. But they're fun, and they get a lot of clicks and a lot of shares, right? And get your attention. Now, here's a look at the ice accumulation. Same kind of principle, same idea. What our takeaway is that the models do have accumulating ice associated with that. That's freezing rain. Yes, maybe a little bit of sleet mixed in. So those are a couple things we'll watch for the Saturday morning time frame, and then depending on how things go with this system, on Monday it might be a secondary round Monday morning. All right, this is a really weak signal right now. I'll watch it this week and I'll update you accordingly. But those are the two time periods I'm watching for just a little bit of winter storm activity around the Southern Plains. Now, if we fast forward on into the 28th of December, look at this mess. So this is the new signal. This just started. This is the American model. Again, the American just loves to produce some clickbait, all right? So just think of it that way. So the GFS is going nuts out here. It's a good map. It's a good winter storm presentation. So good cold airs come in, and we obviously got some showers and storms in eastern parts of the state toward Arkansas, and you got the winter mix here in the middle and the heavy snow out west. So we'll see if this verifies. This is going toward the end of the week. So this is a couple of days after Christmas itself. Now, I know people are wanting snow for Christmas. Well, at least there might be some snow after Christmas, a couple of days, right? But for Christmas Day, right now, the trend is to be mild. So this is your Christmas afternoon forecast for Saturday the 25th. And it does show 60s returning across the state. That'll accompany with a south wind around 10 to 30 miles per hour and a few clouds rolling through as well. So that right now looks like to be your uneventful Christmas Day. Now, if you do look at the overall temperature trend here in Oklahoma City, we do get up pretty toasty Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, nice, right? For December, come on. Now, as we head into Thursday and Friday, we do cool you back into the 50s because remember that front that comes in Wednesday night? That'll be our first cool down. The secondary front comes in case you're joining me late, we had a front that came in here. All right, and then our secondary front comes in Friday evening as well. So that's two fronts, and that drives those temperatures down little by little. And so that we're back into kind of a hard freeze situation as we head on into the weekend and the morning hours. And then we'll see what happens if there's any winter precipitation to deal with on Saturday morning and again on Monday morning. But for right now, temperatures are going to be a little chilly as we head in past the upcoming weekend thanks to those fronts. This is Oklahoma City. If you want to look at Tulsa, same kind of idea, nice and mild here for the first few days, and a little bit of a cool down here toward the end of the week, and then much colder over the upcoming weekend. All right, so that was a mouthful. That was a lot, but I want to bring you up to date. You can also get all this information on my blog if you haven't got it yet. It's at aarontuttle.weather.com. Just type in my name and the word weather and just hit .com, and you will get what you need to go. It's got a lot of stuff on that website. It's got all kinds of interactive maps and whatnot you can click on. A lot of the functionality of my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, which is free, you can find on the website under the radar image. You can actually a couple of extra things on there as well you could look at. So just kind of keep that in mind for the winter season. And also want to thank you guys that did share my weather app to those folks that are east of us from Arkansas and Missouri and Kentucky and Tennessee. As I'm sure most of you know by now, that were hit by a really bad tornado outbreak. It happened quickly Friday afternoon. Just numerous tornado warnings started popping up across a large area, and then it just kind of kept going all evening. And we're gonna see if it's a record, but the storm that produced the most damaging tornado, which had probably EF4 and EF5 type winds with it, based off the damage, from the pictures and video, it may have exceeded 200 miles in length, moving at speeds, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. So it was a long-lived supercell with a long-lived destructive tornado. Now the tornado wasn't that large in its entire life cycle because it did cycle in different strengths, but that's a long time to produce damage. And there were, of course, a lot of fatalities with that, a lot of displacement, a lot of businesses and homes destroyed. And then several people did survive. But in that case, for example, like my weather app, when it gives you an extra few minutes to seek shelter, those few minutes are vital when it comes to that. And I shared a picture of a baby on Twitter today. So the parents had the thought to put the child in a car seat and then put the car seat in the bathtub with them as the tornado went through. Now the tornado leveled the house, took everything. It The baby was fine, just a little minor bruising on the face, but otherwise, I think that car seat probably saved its life. And then the parents were in the neighbor's house next door. So it kind of gives you an idea. When you are under an EF4 or 5 tornado that can clean the slab off and can remove most of what your home is anchored to, you can still survive. It's not a guarantee that you'll die. So with your best method is just to protect yourself as much as possible. So usually we talk about kids and even parents. You just put as many items around you to protect you on you. For example, like, it may sound silly, but it's sporting gear, right? It's gloves, it's mittens, it's helmets, it's pads. In this particular case, we're talking about as a car seat. So anything like that that can provide extra protection from flying debris is really what you're after. And that will help a lot during a time like that. Meanwhile, there's several organizations that you can donate to if you're inclined to do so. I don't really care which one you pick. Most of them, we'll put the money to good use. You can donate churches, you can pray, you can do whatever you want to do for those folks in need. For the cleanup will, of course, take weeks and months. And then the actual tornado surveys to see how big those tornadoes were and along the paths from the National Weather Service, it's going to take at least a week or two. And that's just for the big picture. That's not even accounting a lot of the smaller scale tornadoes, or maybe some that were kind of off the beaten path where they don't get all the attention because of maybe the most damage for the bigger ones. So it's going to take some time. Here in the Weather Service, here in Oklahoma, they do this all the time, and it can take them weeks sometimes to get around to it because there's so many things they have to do, right? They have so many humans that can go out there and survey this stuff, and it's not fast. There's a lot of processes they have to undergo. So it may take a while to get all the information out of that event, but it is an event that is going down in history right now as probably one that is going to be for the record books, both in the strength, intensity, the damage, the cost, the lives lost, the duration and time. Let's see. There was one aspect of that just in one ear and out the other. I just read your comment there, Sean. That's terrible. And there was a friend of mine. He had spoken with a friend that lived in Kentucky and told him that he'll be okay in that area to drive through that area or whatever. Well, unfortunately, that friend died. He was in the tornado. His truck was smashed, and he was found dead about 100 yards away. So it's a very traumatizing event for those that go through those big tornadoes and do lose a lot of lives from friends or loved ones. And it's always sad. It's always terrible to hear. And it's like there's no words you can say on any of that. So a lot of times it's just the message, right? So my goal here is just message. That's the only thing you can do. A lot of this stuff, that happens is out of our hands, out of our control. You can do the best you can to protect yourself and your loved ones, and that's it. That's all you can do. And hope for the best. So unfortunately, that's sometimes it sounds like it's is there anything else? It's one of those. But that's life, and life isn't fair, and unfortunately, it's the way it is. And it'd be nice if we could all be protected 24/7, 365, from everything that could harm us, and it's just not the way life works. But tornadoes, at least you can do some things to protect you. So seeking adequate shelter is obviously the biggest one. Have a game plan. It's December, right? And so most people aren't thinking about tornadoes in December. And it's nighttime. Most people don't think about tornadoes when they're getting ready for bed at night either. Those two things are a horrible combination. Now, tornadoes do occur in December, by the way. They've occurred every month of the year in every area of the states that do get normal tornadoes, like for Oklahoma, for example. So it's not unusual as far as the month of the year. It's just unusual in the magnitude and the fact that we haven't had a big tornado like that since probably more. Here in Oklahoma, we've got to go back almost 10 years. So these huge tornadoes are almost in 10-year cycles. If you go back in time to I think the data goes back to about the 40s or 50s. I was looking at today. About every 10 years, give or take, there's a magnitude jump of an EF4 or 5. And then everything else is well underneath that. So, scientists are still trying to figure out, why and what and how makes the big ones. And we're still learning it. The computer model is helping. The higher resolution sensors that we can deploy is helping. I think AI is going to be a huge thing in the weather community over the next 5-10 years. So artificial intelligence will help to put the pieces together. I think we're able to get some new updated information that way, and prediction, modeling, all that kind of stuff. But even like, for example, the big ones that cycled the 200 plus miles, we don't have the ability to predict that to occur. In other words, we can't tell you, oh yeah, this environment is going to support a storm that lasts for 200 miles long, that lasts for 3 hours, 4 hours, or whatever it may be. We can't do that. Plus, we can't even take a look at a supercell itself and predict beyond about an hour what our best guess is as far as the evolution in the physics of it to produce a tornado or not. So there's still a lot of things that we're getting better at, but we're still, believe it or not, in meteorology when it's infancy as far as what we can learn and use and utilize for life-saving, protection of property, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of research that goes into that, a lot of money that goes into that. If you, and this is unfortunate, anytime politics gets involved with this stuff, just shut it out, turn it off. And I detest politicians for the most part because of that. They jump on to any horrific event immediately and start pointing fingers and doing all this name calling or whatever. It's sickening. I'm like, it irritates me. It's part of human nature. It's disgusting, right? And politicians, for whatever reason, love to fill that role. So, one of them was about, blame it on global warming, and if we'd done this, we wouldn't have these tornadoes. Well, the problem is the tornadoes don't care about global warming. They don't care about climate change. They're so small of an event, that stuff doesn't affect them. And there's been research that's tried, trust me, and they can't find a single connection. As a matter of fact, if you really want to go that route, it's the opposite. If you want to go, to find the world's warmed a little bit, if you want to go down that road and more moist, more storms, okay, go down that road. The problem is the statistics on the tornadoes have gone the other way. They've gone down. Matter of fact, EF3 tornadoes has dropped like 40% or 50% over a period of time. And what we get is a lot of the small ones. And you're saying, well, those small ones have gone up. And I do this in my weather talks. I'll talk about this in more depth. But a lot of the small ones that seem to have increased in time over the decades and years, well, Doppler radar technology, first off, because now we can see them because they're very small, right? Better resolution radars, more dense radar network. So that's a huge deal. More populated areas, so there's more people sighting them. More proof, documentation. Everybody's got a cell phone. So there's a lot of things that help document the fact that we've seen a lot higher incidence overall in small tornadoes, the F0s and the F1s, rather than the large ones, which have been the same about every 10 years for those. And so we're still learning, got a lot to learn on that, but just, when you hear that kind of stuff, it's just throw it out. Just focus on the fact that there's a lot of pain and suffering, a lot of damage, and help some people if you can. If not, pray for them, whatever you want to do. But in that case, because there will be, tornadoes pretty much any time of the year. And thankfully, they're not all like the event on Friday. But when they do, they obviously get all the attention. So anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about that. I didn't put much into that on the forecast here for Oklahoma because I just mainly forecast for our region, so I don't forecast for the whole country. But it was a magnitude worth discussing and looking into and investigating, both from a meteorological standpoint and just a wow, Mother Nature standpoint and what carnage can be left behind. So it was definitely one for the record books. But anyway, so that's it from me. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. If you're late, I'm signing off now, but you can watch the replay for the weather forecast. It's really short. I think the whole thing probably took 5 minutes. And I kind of spent the last 10 minutes talking about just the tornado event that happened to start off the weekend. All right, well, you guys have been great. I will update you off and on this week through social media. You can take a look at the latest posts that I have. Now, find out if whether or not the 2 winter storms that are in the noise signal for this weekend and then for the 28th, if they continue, and then which way they go. Lighter, heavier, all that kind of stuff. And so I'll keep you updated. All right, thanks for watching. You guys have a great rest of your night for your weekend and a great work week. We'll talk again soon. Take care.